Every single year, casinos around the world generate hundreds of billions of dollars in revenue. Not because players are stupid, not because the games are rigged in any obvious way, but because casinos are, without question, the most psychologically sophisticated environments ever designed by human beings. Every color on the wall, every sound from the slot machine, every free drink placed in your hand, none of it is accidental. It is all engineered, tested, and refined over decades to do one thing: keep you playing longer than you planned, spending more than you intended, and feeling better about losing than you have any rational right to feel. But here is the thing. When you understand how the psychology works, you stop being the prey. You become someone who can walk into a casino, enjoy the experience, play intelligently, and, in some games, actually tilt the odds closer to your favor. This video is going to walk you through the full picture. The science of how casinos manipulate your mind, the mechanics of the most popular games, and the strategies that give you the best possible chance of walking out ahead. Let's start with the environment itself. The casino as a machine for psychological manipulation. When you walk into a major casino for the first time, the sheer scale of it can feel overwhelming. Thousands of machines, dozens of tables, lights flashing in every direction, music pulsing, coins chiming, crowds of people celebrating. It feels exciting, electric, almost euphoric. That feeling is not spontaneous, it is manufactured. Casinos are deliberately designed without windows and without clocks. This is one of the oldest and most studied tricks in the industry. Without visual cues about time, no sunlight shifting, no clock on the wall, the human brain loses its natural sense of duration. What feels like an hour might be 3. What feels like a short session has somehow stretched into an entire afternoon. You are not bad at keeping track of time. You have simply been placed in an environment that systematically strips away every tool you would normally use to do so. The layout of a casino floor is also deeply intentional. Major studies in environmental psychology, including the famous work of Thomas Friedman at UNLV, have examined 2 dominant casino layout philosophies. The maze layout, used by older Vegas-style casinos, creates winding paths through dense clusters of machines and tables. Every exit is just slightly harder to find than it should be. You have to walk through more gaming areas to get to the bathroom, to the restaurant, to the elevator. Every detour is a new temptation. More modern casinos use what is called a playground layout, wider aisles, more visibility, a more open and comfortable feel. But make no mistake, this is not generosity. Research has shown that when players feel comfortable and in control of their physical environment, they stay longer and spend more. Ease and comfort are sales tools. Then there is the sensory design. Casino carpets are notoriously loud and ugly, but this is deliberate. The visual noise on the floor keeps your eyes up, focused on the games and the lights rather than looking down. Lighting is carefully calibrated, bright enough to see clearly, warm enough to feel relaxed, never the harsh fluorescent white that might make you feel like you are in a supermarket making a rational purchase decision. The sounds are arguably the most powerful manipulation of all. Every slot machine in a casino has been programmed to play winning sounds, including on outcomes where the player has technically lost. If you bet $5 and win $2 back, you have lost money. But the machine still lights up, still plays a cheerful melody, still celebrates. Your brain hears the celebration and releases a small hit of dopamine. This is called a loss disguised as a win, and research published in scientific journals, including Addiction and the Journal of Gambling Studies, has found that these sounds measurably increase the excitement and persistence of gambling behavior, even in people who intellectually know they have lost. And then there is the psychology of chips. Casinos do not let you gamble with cash. They make you exchange your money for colored plastic discs first. This conversion is not logistical, it is psychological. Chips do not feel like money. Handing over a $5 chip feels meaningfully different from handing over a $5 bill, even though the value is identical. The abstraction creates distance between the player and the financial reality of what they are doing. It makes spending easier, faster, and less emotionally painful, which means you do it more. Free drinks serve a similar function. Casinos in many parts of the world offer complimentary alcohol to players. Even small amounts of alcohol impair judgment, increase risk tolerance, reduce the ability to calculate probabilities accurately, and weaken impulse control. The math here is ruthless. The cost of the drinks is trivially small compared to the additional losses they generate. Understanding all of this does not make the casino less enjoyable. In fact, for many people, it makes the experience richer, like watching a magic trick after learning how it is done. You can still appreciate the performance, but you will not be fooled. The mathematics of the house. Edge. Before we talk about specific games, you need to understand one foundational concept: the house edge. Every casino game, by design, gives the house a statistical advantage. This is not cheating, it is mathematics. The rules of each game are structured so that, over a large enough number of plays, the casino will always make money. This advantage is expressed as a percentage, the house edge, which represents how much of every bet the casino expects to keep over time. On American roulette, the house edge is 5.26%. On European roulette, it drops to 2.7%. On slot machines, the house edge varies wildly, but is typically between 2 and 15%, often higher. On blackjack played with perfect strategy, the house edge can fall below 0.5%. On video poker with optimal play, some variants actually approach a theoretical edge of less than 0.5% as well. The house edge means that in the long run, you cannot consistently beat the casino. This is a mathematical certainty. Anyone who tells you otherwise is either lying or confused. But here is the nuance that changes everything. You are not playing the long run. You are playing a single session. And within a single session, variance, the natural randomness of outcomes, can swing dramatically in your favor. Smart casino play is not about beating the house permanently. It is about giving yourself the best possible chance of running hot during the time you are playing, while limiting the damage when you run cold. That means choosing the right games, understanding the right strategies, and managing your money with discipline. Slot machines. The most psychologically powerful game in the casino. Let's start with slots, because they are the most played casino game in the world and arguably the least understood. Slot machines operate on a system called a random number generator, or RNG. This is a computer algorithm that produces thousands of random number combinations per second, even when the machine is not being played. When you press the spin button, the machine reads the current output of the RNG at that exact millisecond and displays the corresponding symbols. The result is determined the instant you press spin. The spinning reels are purely decorative. This means several things that many players get wrong. First, there is no such thing as a slot machine that is due to hit. Each spin is completely independent of every spin that came before it. A machine that has not paid out a jackpot in 1,000 spins is not more likely to pay one out on spin 1001. The history of the machine is irrelevant to its future behavior. Second, there is no such thing as a hot or cold machine. The RNG operates continuously and randomly. Your perception that a machine is hot is a cognitive bias called the clustering illusion, the human brain's tendency to see patterns in random data. Third, the near miss is a deliberate design feature. When the reels show 2 jackpot symbols and then stop one position above the third, players almost universally interpret this as almost winning and are motivated to try again. Research has shown that near misses activate the same brain regions as actual wins and produce the same motivation to continue. This is not luck, it is engineering. So how do you play slots intelligently? Choose machines with higher return to player percentages, usually abbreviated as RTP. This is the flip side of the house edge. A machine with a 96% RTP will, on average, pay back 96 cents of every dollar wagered over time. Higher RTP is better. Most online casinos publish RTP figures. Physical casinos generally do not, but research suggests that high-denomination machines tend to have better RTPs than penny slots. Set a strict loss limit before you sit down. Decide the maximum you are willing to lose, and when you reach it, you walk away. No exceptions. Slots are entertainment with a cost, like going to a concert. Treat the money you bring as the price of the experience, not as capital you are investing with an expectation of return. Roulette. Elegant, simple, and mostly unbeatable roulette is a beautiful game with a brutal mathematical reality. The wheel has either 37 pockets, European with a single zero, or 38 pockets, American with a zero and a double zero. Every bet at the table pays out as if there were 36 pockets. The house earns its edge from those extra pockets. The European wheel has a house edge of 2.7%. The American wheel, 5.26%. Always play European roulette if you have the choice. Always. The difference compounds significantly over time. You will encounter a vast number of betting systems for roulette. The martingale, the Fibonacci, the Labouchere, the D'Alembert. These systems are mathematically seductive because they appear to manage the house edge through bet sizing patterns. They do not. No betting system can change the underlying mathematics of an independent random event. What the martingale does do, doubling your bet after every loss, is dramatically increase your risk of a catastrophic losing streak that wipes out your entire bankroll. It works beautifully in theory. In practice, it fails brutally because table limits exist and because losing streaks of 7 or 8 in a row are far more common than intuition suggests. The most honest advice for roulette is this: play European, make simple outside bets like red or black, odd or even, and treat every spin as standalone entertainment. The game gives you more time at the table per dollar than slots, the social atmosphere is enjoyable, and the mathematics is at least more transparent. Blackjack. Where skill actually matters. Blackjack is the casino game that has generated more academic research, more published mathematical literature, and more genuine strategic depth than any other. And the reason is simple. In blackjack, your decisions actually change the outcome. This is not true in roulette or slots. In blackjack, a player who understands basic strategy plays a fundamentally different game than one who does not. The objective of blackjack is to get a hand value closer to 21 than the dealer without going over. Number cards are worth their face value. Face cards are worth 10. Aces are worth either 1 or 11, whichever helps the hand more. Basic strategy is a mathematically optimal set of decisions for every possible combination of your hand and the dealer's visible card. It was first published in the 1950s by a group of U.S. Army mathematicians, Roger Baldwin, Wilbert Canty, Herbert Maisel, and James McDermott, and has since been refined by computer simulations running millions of hands. When you play perfect basic strategy, the house edge on a standard blackjack game drops to somewhere between 0.4 and 0.6%. That is remarkable, significantly better odds than virtually any other game in the casino. The core principles of basic strategy include always splitting aces and eights, never splitting 10s or 5s, doubling down on 11 when the dealer shows a weak card, and always standing on hard 17 or above. When the dealer shows a 6 or lower, they are statistically likely to bust, so conservative play is rewarded. When the dealer shows a 7 or higher, you need to be more aggressive because the dealer is less likely to go over. The single biggest mistake recreational players make in blackjack is playing by gut instinct. Hitting a hard 16 against a dealer showing a 7 feels risky because 16 is already a strong number and drawing risks busting. But the mathematics says you should hit. The gut feeling is wrong. Basic strategy is right, and it has been proven across billions of simulated hands. Beyond basic strategy, a small percentage of players practice card counting, tracking the ratio of high to low cards remaining in the deck to identify moments when the remaining cards favor the player. Card counting is not illegal, but casinos will ask you to stop playing blackjack if they detect it. It is also dramatically harder in practice than it sounds in theory. It requires intensive training, concentration, and the ability to perform calculations under social pressure while appearing completely normal. For most recreational players, basic strategy alone is the tool that matters. Dachi Poker, the one game. Where you can consistently win, poker deserves its own category because it is the one casino-adjacent game where the house is not your opponent. In poker, you play against other players. The casino takes a small percentage of each pot called the rake, but otherwise your results are determined entirely by the quality of your play relative to the players at your table. This means that over time, a genuinely skilled poker player can profit. This is not theoretical. The existence of professional poker players with documented long-term winning records proves it. The foundations of strong poker play are position, hand selection, and understanding pot odds. Position, meaning where you sit relative to the dealer button, determines when you have to act in each round. Acting last gives you an enormous informational advantage because you have seen what everyone else has done before making your own decision. Strong players play more hands from late position and fewer from early position. Hand selection is the discipline of folding the large majority of hands you are dealt rather than playing every hand out of curiosity or hope. The majority of money lost by beginning poker players is lost in hands they should never have played. Patience is not a personality trait in poker. It is a strategy. Pot odds are the ratio between the current size of the pot and the cost of a call. If the pot contains $100 and it costs $20 to call, you are getting 5-to-1 pot odds. If the odds of completing your hand are better than 5-to-1, calling is mathematically justified. If they are worse, folding is correct. Learning to make these calculations at the table quickly and accurately is a learnable skill. Poker is also the game most deeply intertwined with psychology. Reading opponents, detecting patterns, managing your own emotional state, bluffing at the right moments, and avoiding tilt, the state of frustrated, irrational play that follows bad beats, are all genuine competitive skills. This is why poker has produced more documented champions, more published strategic literature, and more professional players than any other gambling game. It is, at its core, a game of skill that uses cards. The psychology of winning and losing. What your brain does wrong. Understanding casino psychology is not only about understanding what casinos do to you, it is equally about understanding what your own mind does to you. The gambler's fallacy is one of the most studied cognitive biases in behavioral economics. It is the belief that past random events influence future random events. If a roulette wheel has landed on red 7 times in a row, many players feel certain that black is now due. It is not. Each spin is independent. The wheel has no memory. The probability of red or black on the next spin is identical to what it was before the first spin. Confirmation bias means we remember our wins more vividly than our losses. We tell the story of the lucky night we doubled our money. We do not tell the story of the 6 ordinary nights that preceded it, where we quietly lost the same amount. Our selective memory distorts our perception of our own results and makes us believe we are luckier or more skilled than we are. The availability heuristic causes us to overweight dramatic, memorable outcomes. If you once watched someone win a jackpot on a slot machine, that vivid image stays with you and inflates your sense of how likely jackpots are. In reality, jackpot probabilities are often millions to 1 against. Sunk cost thinking drives some of the most damaging behavior in casinos. The idea that you need to win back what you have already lost, that you cannot leave down $200 so you keep playing to get even, is mathematically and psychologically destructive. The money you have already lost is gone. It is gone regardless of whether you play 1 more hand or 1,000 more hands. Your future decisions should be made purely on the basis of expected value going forward, not on the basis of recovering a loss that cannot be recovered. The casino knows this cognitive trap exists. The environment is designed to keep you in it. How to actually win. The practical framework. Let's be honest about what winning means. In the long run, against the house, most players will lose. That is a mathematical fact. But you can win on any given day, and you can win more often than the average player by making smarter decisions. Here is a framework that works. Choose games with the lowest house edge. Blackjack with basic strategy, European roulette, full pay video poker, and craps with optimal bets like pass line and come give you the best odds. Avoid Keno, the big 6 wheel, and most side bets, which have house edges ranging from 10 to 30%. Set a session bankroll and a win target before you play. Decide how much you are willing to lose. When you hit that number, you stop, no matter what. Also decide how much of a win will make you happy. If your goal is to double your money and you achieve it, you take the profit and walk away. The biggest mistake winning players make is continuing to play after they are up, exposing their winnings to the house edge all over again. Play slowly. The house edge is expressed per hand or per spin. The faster you play, the more decisions you make, and the more the edge compounds against you. Slow down. Savor the experience. Order a coffee instead of another drink. Never play with money you cannot afford to lose. This is not a cliché. It is the single rule that separates healthy recreational gambling from harmful gambling. When the money on the table represents rent or groceries, your ability to make rational decisions collapses entirely. Emotion takes over from strategy, and emotion is the casino's best friend. Learn one game deeply instead of sampling everything. The player who knows blackjack basic strategy cold, who has studied the strategy card and practiced at home, who knows when to deviate from the book in specific situations, that player has a fundamentally different relationship with the casino than the player hopping from game to game on instinct. Conclusion: play with your eyes. Open casinos are extraordinary environments. They are built with precision, funded with billions, and staffed with professionals whose job is to ensure that the house retains its mathematical advantage across millions of interactions. The psychological tools they employ, the sensory manipulation, the chip abstraction, the near-miss engineering, the removal of time cues, are real, documented, and effective. But knowledge is protection. When you understand that the carpet is ugly by design, you can smile at it. When you understand that the near miss is manufactured to keep you spinning, you can recognize it for what it is and choose to walk away. When you understand that blackjack played with basic strategy gives you the best mathematical odds of any table game, you sit down with a strategy card and you play it correctly, even when your gut says otherwise. Casinos are entertainment. They are exciting, social, visually spectacular environments where the stakes of play make every outcome feel meaningful. There is nothing wrong with enjoying that. There is everything wrong with walking in uninformed and letting the environment make your decisions for you. Know the odds, know the psychology, know yourself, and the next time you walk through those doors, you will be playing a different game than everyone else at the table.